Okay, welcome to the third in a series of making and molding paper masks. And I'll be your host, Mike Fleury. Okay, for this portion of the video, I'm just going to narrate over the top of this sped up time lapse. Here you can see the white paper that was just blended and from water. It was left in overnight and dried pretty thoroughly, and it looks a lot better, that's for sure. And what I did was I dried it out real well. You can kind of see that just through a screen, and then wringing it out with a piece of cheesecloth. And I'm trying to get 250 milliliters as the original online recipe calls for. I came up a little short, so what I did was I just used the same amount of glue rather than the 250 milliliters of glue. I just filled that to duplicate what I had for paper pulp. And then it's just a question of adding all the different ingredients, and I'll go through this quickly. If you'd like to jump to where the actual molding begins, it's at about 5.5 minutes in the video, and the actual finishing part is 26.5 minutes into it. So if you want to skip around, you've already seen this part. You got 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, half a tablespoon of baking soda, tablespoon of salt, tablespoon of vinegar, I found that, and then of course adding the paper pulp to it. Hand whisk does not work. However, my little new $12 hand blender from a dollar store worked beautifully. You can see the 4th tablespoon of cornstarch going in. And it would be worth spending some time with this. 9 minutes overall. Produces a pretty nice clay type substance. Okay, then I'm going to take a piece of cheesecloth and cut it to about the size. Now, cheesecloth is all 2-ply, so there's actually 2 layers of cloth there. And what I'm doing is trying to represent the outline of where I want the paper clay to go on the cheesecloth, and making sure I cover at least that much area of it. And to make sure it releases from the mold nice, putting a coat of silicone over the mold. This I found online too. It's very simple. It's just cold water, dishwashing liquid, and silicone sealant. And the water kind of makes it softer, a little mushier, easier to work with. Kind of thins it out basically, and it works pretty good. So you just kind of gather that up and then spread it on the mold. Just doing this by hand here works just fine. But as you can see, the mesh of the mold is pretty fine, and I'm actually covering up some of the pores. So I had the brilliant idea of, well, just blow the silicone off from the inside, and that didn't work too good. It did open up, some of the pores, but the idea was to make this so it's fast to dry. So you wanted to have air circulating around both sides of it, and really kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And so this is the mold design that you see first, and I made a new one with much wider pores here, and added that little center section to act as a stand, and the more of a distinct platform there. Here's 3 of them on the printer. They printed just fine. And here they are after applying the silicone, and you can see the air is going to get all around there. This next part I'll just narrate live. Well, I'm ready to start here with the molding phase of making paper masks. Got the pulp that I made the other day, and the molds are all cured. I've got silicone on them. Made this cute little stand for them, and that'll help. So the idea is to take this piece of cheesecloth that I made the other day and thin out the paper clay enough so I can apply it on here easily, and then just take this and drape it over the mold. So I think I'll just get started with the making this thinner. So I want to kind of control this. So what I'll do is put some measured amounts of clay in here, so I can kind of keep track of what the mix of clay to water is. So these are tablespoons, and I think probably I'll just use 3 to get started here. Keep them kind of level. And this should be more than enough to do 3 masks, but let's see what a tablespoon equates to. Oops, not that one. Okay, then I've got some hot water, just hot water from the tap, and I'm going to start with 20 ml of water. And just kind of fork that around a little. See if it'll thin out the way I hope it will. And yeah, it's water soluble, so it is becoming thinner. Of course, I don't want to go too far, but I do want to try to paint this stuff on, making a nice thin layer of paper. I think that's still kind of thick. I'll put another 10 ml of water in. So that's 30 ml of water to 3 tablespoons of clay. That's a little more like it. And if this works, that means that 1/2 liter batch of clay is going to make a lot of masks. Don't know how many yet to do the math, but I think that's not so bad. So I'll show you what I had in mind. This was the cheesecloth that I put these little dots on earlier, so I know what the minimum coverage is going to be. And I'm going to tape that down so it holds it in place pretty good. Just using some painter's tape here. I got a piece of wax paper underneath it too. I want to stretch this out. Possible. No, it's probably not holding onto the wax. Okay. Well, let's just try this. Yeah, let's see how this stuff spreads. I'm just going to kind of goop it on here for the start. Take a paintbrush and dip it in water. And look at that. That's not so bad. Okay, I want to make sure I go to my little black dots there. But I can see this going pretty fast in a a human production line. I'll just kind of saturate the cheesecloth. Make sure I get enough on there. And you can see the clay is much smoother than some of my earlier attempts. And that'll just make for a nicer looking mask on the outside. And the inside should be pretty nice with the cheesecloth there and the shape. So yeah, just kind of spread it so it fills the cheesecloth and doesn't have a ton of bumps on it. Maybe something like that. Okay, now let's see what happens. I'm going to put this onto the form. I guess you don't need the tape. Let's see how this works. Try to get this closer to the camera here. Maybe even I'll take the second one out to give myself some room. Okay, it looks like this was the nose. And that wasn't so hard. Still pretty bumpy. That's the idea. And I'll just take some more water on the brush here. Try to smooth this out a little more. Hopefully I'm grabbing the contours here okay. That's the idea. I guess I might be putting more into this than I need to, but I'll make sure there's no air gaps. And there's going to be some bumps, but it's okay. Okay. Good enough for government work. Yeah, we'll let that sit while I go to a meeting. Okay, let's try another one here. And this time I'm going to forego the black dots and the taping down and just put a sheet of cheesecloth out there and just try to kind of quickly smooth some of this stuff into it. And it looks like I'm going to take the remainder of my 3 tablespoons. I guess maybe just smearing it by hand is the way to go. Yeah, probably. Hopefully I'll have enough here. Oh yeah, that works. Probably a little better than brushing even. Yeah, it is. It's better because you can smooth out the bumps a little. Yeah. Okay, let's try this. Yeah, seems to work pretty good. A question of getting it on there good, but I like the result a little better. It's kind of hard to get it into the mold. That may not be that important, but let's just see what a minimal time spent on it does to this one. Okay, and then I'll just I'll do this one later. I think I'm going to try one with just the clay and not diluting it. So I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, I can see this one has still got some open areas here. Maybe I'll just take some straight clay. first one has got a couple areas too. Just try to paint that on there. I think somewhere there is probably a recipe for this that'll give it a perfect consistency. I may need to do more smoothing when I make the clay. Yeah, this is kind of a pain here. There we go. Just to give you an idea, I think maybe it is better to just use a straight clay. And I will do that on my third attempt. These two I'll let dry overnight. See how they feel in the morning. It's about 7 at night right now, so give them a good 12 hours, if not more. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. And this last one, like I said, I'm just going to apply the clay by itself. Try to do it. No, let's use the flat model idea first here. And then apply it to the mold. Okay. So I'm just gonna take this out. See the consistency. Just gonna try to force that right into the fabric here of the cheesecloth. Maybe a better way, I don't know. And here's probably where I would have wanted to tape it down, but let's just continue on here. I think it is probably easier to get an even layer by laying it down first, so at least that part of it is kind of bearing out. But I don't like seeing any any mesh when it's on the mold, so I want to make sure there's enough of the compound everywhere. And of course, I should be wetting my fingers here. It comes right off in water. I'll give it one kind of final smoothing. That looks a little better. Huh. Yeah, sometimes being fancy doesn't pay the bills. So let's go back to being simple. Lay this up on there. Like so. Messing up the other ones. But I think you get the idea. Work it in there. I don't know. Actually, it's not too bad. I'm not going to mess with this one too much because I like the results already. So I think the middle one here is going to be the keeper. But let's see what the other two do also. I don't think there's much of a time difference in the two different recipes. But yeah, see, there's always a little bit of a problem somewhere. Okay, good enough. Let that sit. This is some 16 hours later. Parts are hard as a rock. I had a couple fans on them, and I think they were fully cured probably after about 8 hours or less. So now the finishing part of it will be to cut it out. I think I'll just leave the mold on it to cut it out. And so these two here are with the thinner compound. This was with the straight paper clay, and I think this may be the way to go here. But let's start with one of these first. And I'm just going to try to cut right along where the mold is. It doesn't seem to be a problem. Maybe little scissors. No real problem here, it just takes a little time, but not bad. A minute or two, I guess. Okay, let's see if we can get the mold off of here. Our new silicone mold release. Here it comes. Yeah. Pretty flexible. But, I don't know. Maybe a little too wimpy. But, soft. Should be okay against the face. Yeah, let's try the one with the straight clay. And I'll just skip the video ahead to this at this point. Okay, take this one off. Came right off. Nice. Better. Okay, I think we can work with this one. We'll just go with the straight paper clay. Looks like there might be some porous areas. I guess we could put this in water, see how bad the leaks are. Actually, no, not water. That would dissolve it. So, to ensure that this is fully encapsulated, maybe just a little extra QC, and then another inspection, go back over and fill in some of the visual areas you see. But yeah, it's flexible, but it's got a shape to it. Feels good. Okay, that should do it for now. Next part, we're going to cut out the front of this and glue a filter on there that we're going to make from high vacuum cleaner bags. Okay, so call this a success. Okay, this is the filter material. It's 3 layers, and it was cut from a vacuum cleaner bag, in this case a Roomba, and I made a little template here that corresponds with the flat that was meant on the mold. Just going to trace around it, cut it out. And then what I'm going to do is try to seal up those 3 layers. Let's pause for a second. Okay, I realize this tool is not something everyone will have. I have it set up on 300C. This is a tool I use when 3D printing, and it's just kind of a spoon shape. And I'm just going to walk that around. Okay, that's too hot. Well, let's do it anyway. I think you get the idea. And we'll have to figure out a way to do this in low-income places, but it looks like it worked here. Yeah, pretty good. Okay, and I'll just cut that out. Okay, and then I'll just take some good old Elmer's here and run a bead along the top. Lay the patch on there and let it sit. looks about right. And then it's just a matter of stapling a couple straps to the side here. I don't know if I need to show that. I probably will have a spec for where those should go. But that's primarily it. So the idea is to have a process of making masks where there are, underprivileged people that can't afford the 50 cents a day it's going to take to get a mask. I think all the ingredients added up here, I'll have to do some kind of an analysis, but I'd be surprised if the materials here cost more than 10 cents. And so it's just a matter of getting the labor to be cheap enough to make these for, I'm hoping, less than a quarter. The cheapest ones I've seen so far are about 50 cents each, and hopefully it will provide a service to those places that really need them. Thank you.